KP, and thank you, Dr. Maran, for your empowering the sharing. Thank you very much. Okay, so we have our special guest with us, Mr. Satadal Lahiri, alumni of IIT Kharagpur and XLRE Jamshedpur, author, editor, and book critic, and a consultant, and has authored more than 15 books. The most inspiring, and has done a great work in designing, developing, and suggesting the best that needs to be put in this 15 scientific secrets of your extraordinary mind. Over to you, sir.
Getting into, sir, just 30 seconds about you. He is actually, I have seen people talk about Shashi Tharoor. I think he is 3-4 steps ahead of Shashi Tharoor for me. He is one of the finest editor and his finest writer in this country. What a great gentleman, and the kind of knowledge he's having, uncomparable. And I'm blessed to meet him, and he's a scholar of this country. He is a pass out of the elite institutions of this country, and I'm very much thankful to him for editing my book. Over to you, sir.
Good evening. Am I audible?
Yes, sir, very much.
Thank you, KP, for that wonderful. I don't know whether I deserve it or not, but looked a little bit exaggerated. You know, when you compare me with Shashi Tharoor and people like that. You know, when you have people like Mr. Hari Krishna Maram sitting there, Mr. Nanda, then of course Mr. Reddy there, all the Reddy brothers. I am of a little bit. I feel a little bit awkward because these people have really pitched themselves up and taught India and the world what it needs within you to reach that height. And you have selected the right people. Salute to you. And the kind of book that you have conceived in your mind. I was just an instrument, of course, and it was a journey together, lovely journey. Ladies and gentlemen, when KP, sort of messaged me like, why don't we work in this book together? Why don't you, do the editing of the book? I immediately said yes, because I had seen one of his videos and it has thoroughly impacted me. So then the journey started. Can you believe? Within 35 days, we completed 53,000 words. Within 35 days, first edit, second edit, third edit. That is 53,000 words into 3. More than 150,000 words worked out in 35 days. So that was the spirit of the book. That was the level of the book. That was the content of the book. Anyway, what I'd like to say is, I'll not take much of a time. I have this habit of going out of orbit, talking much more than I'm supposed to. But I'd like to say that the book that is there, when it was conceptualized, when it was put on paper, put on Microsoft Word and presented and worked upon, like there were so many stories that came forward. There were so many stories. There was one story, about, you might be knowing the mountain man, Dasrath Maji. There was one story about a poor villager who had come to the city to sustain himself, a mechanic who did not know ABCD. There was a person who was making a murti of Kali. There was Ganesh Reddy. All these people, they represent India. India is a country. Really, in fact, India is a big country. There are so many types of people, but India is a country which has been uplifted by people who have belief in themselves. And KP's book instills that belief. If you read the book, you will have a belief in yourself. And 88 people out here, some of them achievers, some of them yet to achieve. I believe when we meet again, there'll be more number of achievers here with the achievers batch with them after reading this book. So before I end, a small excerpt from the book I'd like to say. It is picked up from the Archimedes Principle, my favorite part of the book. I spent around 2 days in that. The mind, Archimedes says, Archimedes, we knew that he is a crazy Jew guy, a scientist who was taking a bath in his bathtub, and suddenly he shouted that Eureka, Eureka, he has discovered something. What did he discover? He discovered that the weight of the body and the mass of the liquid displaced are equal. It makes you lighter. All those things. How do you relate that? Today, if I have a grudge against somebody, if I have a grudge against somebody who has probably hurt me, and I go about thinking about him, I tend to spend most of my time thinking how to get evens with him, how to, put him down, how to, give it back to him stronger, eat ke jab patthar se, and all that, all those things. What it does make to me is that it makes me heavier. Those feelings make me heavy and it sinks me. And if I am able to get out of it by, I'm not saying that you forget it. Okay, you push it to some alcove of your memory, but then you forgive him, make it light, think about some good incidents in your life, think about positive things and move ahead in your life. You go on to achieve. That is not a normal human thing to do, not a normal human aspect to do. Otherwise, everybody could have done that. But in this forum, we have got people who have done that. So this is one thing that I've been trying to do, and I've been getting results. And this is brought in this book in such lucidity that anybody who follows this, anybody who reads the examples, the activities that are put over there, you can easily do it. And if you do it, the very next day or the very same day, you'll start finding the difference. Try it. I have tried it. And congratulations, KP. A wonderful job done by you.
Thank you very much, sir, for your beautiful words.
Thank you, Larry Ji. Larry Ji, can you just keep the book? Can you hold the book?
Yeah.
Thank you, Ji. We have our special guest with us today, Wing Commander, Indian Air Force, K. Basavraj, with us to share about his experience and his message on 15 scientific secrets of your extraordinary mind. Over to you, sir. K. Basavraj.
Well, thanks, Mr. Ram. Thanks so much.
Before Basavraj, just I want to tell a bit about Basav. See, I know him since I think we're college mates. He was just 1 year senior to me, in fact. But we were very good friends. He knows me like anything, from the journey of college and all. So he means he's a great, very humble, very simple person. And I have not seen such a person, so simple it is. Nothing, no reaction, nothing, very swiftly he takes his life. And thorough gentleman he is. And now over to, he's a wing commander, I don't have anything to say. Everybody knows about wing commanders and what is the kind of life is from defense. So he can now tell about his story and all, and what he has, how he has gone through this book, and he knows my journey. Probably he can share a bit.
Yes,
Over
sir.
to
You're
you.
sharing. Yes, sir.
Yeah, thanks so much, KP. Well, at the outset, I want to thank Kedar for inviting me for this wonderful online launch. There are a few spin-offs of this COVID pandemic that I could be part of this launch. Otherwise, I'm sure I would not been part of it. I also feel honored to speak among us, this illustrious people, august gathering, who are present here to spare their time. Thank you, KP, once again for this wonderful book. In fact, he has written this book in such a wonderful, crisp and clear manner that this is now one of my go-to book whenever I have issues. Probably it's been now 15-20 days. I'm reading this book once or twice. I've already finished it off. But one of my favorite is this Newton's second law. I would definitely like to dwell upon the chapter. This basically tells about giving some time whenever in an adverse situation or circumstances. Well, this is true to the core. I feel in few of the instances where armed forces, it has been used effectively. I would like to give an example, when people are being inserted in high altitudes, they are put in for a few days in a base camp for that body to acclimatize to that difficult terrain and environment. if they're directly inserted into the high altitude, they will have various health issues like hypoxia, headache, vomiting. So there, the time factor is very important. To insert the troops, they give certain amount of time for the body to acclimatize. That is one of the key areas. I think this you can directly take an example where you can put this book in such a lucid manner. And I would also like to share a personal example. A few days back, my wife had a major loss. My wife's grandparents expired due to COVID, and believe me, it is a colossal loss for her. And it was very difficult for her to fathom and come out of it. But believe me, this time factor again played an important role, that we were so busy in finalizing a lot of things that she could get over this difficult time with a lot of support. So this time factor is very important. Whenever people face a situation, the important is expand it, and he is very lucidly explained in this book. Uh, Thanks, Kedar, and it's such a wonderful book that I want to recommend this to most of these millennials who yet to face adversities. And this book will definitely an important part where they can go and reread it again and again, and they can definitely look back and put these things in their life. Thanks again, Kedar, and I'm definitely looking forward for the new books which we've been talking. I'm sure they will be very good. At this outset, I want to close, and congratulations for the team who have been very happily doing this for a great good cause. Thank you so much, Kedar. Thank you so much. All the best.
Thank you so much, Vasu. Thank you so much for your time and the wonderful words you have spoken. God bless you. Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah. May I now invite Professor G.K.N. Reddy.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. More than reading the book, I've had a long conversation with Kedar, the author of this book. So almost 10 p.m. to 11 p.m., 1 hour conversation. It's more than reading a book. You either read a book or talk to a person, and you can tap into the wisdom, you can tap into the intelligence, you can feel the love and compassion of the other human being. That's what I experienced being in conversation with Kedar Panda. One thing beautiful about this book is, which he was sharing with me in that conversation, he was in an alpha kind of state of mind, which means being in a deep connection with the existence. That's when we go beyond the memory. It's not that he's recalling a few things from his memory, from the school days, college days, university days, what he has read. It's much more than that. Usually scriptures have that kind of feel. Scriptures which were written thousands of years ago. Anytime you read, there's certain magic, there's certain power in those words. And that's how they become timeless. This book has that special quality. And then, as an educationist, what I foresee is when teachers, community across the world, when they read this book, they see the same laws differently. So it's not the technical knowledge that he's talking about. He's relating these scientific laws to our life and how we can awaken the giant within, how we can connect to the alpha state and then connect to the universe, and then all the wealth, all the wisdom, all the intelligence, everything is out there. So this is what the Indian rishis, yogis, munis did, or siddhas did for ages. And knowingly or unknowingly, the universe has created this connection to Kedar Pandaji. And so I congratulate Kedarji for this great book that you have authored. And may this reach the world. May this touch the hearts, connect to the souls, and connect to the cosmic consciousness make great things unfold in this universe. This is my prayer and blessing to you. God bless you. Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you, Reddy. Thank you, Narasi sir. Actually, Narasi sir is one of the former director of Jain University, Bangalore, and he is also educationist, and he is heading the Gurukulam international school and all these things, education institutions. And he's a legend in the field of education as well. So thanks a lot for your time, sir, and taking out and giving me the wishes.
Yeah, thank you, Professor. Now we have a very interesting and very inspiring person, a memory and speed reading coach, a mind map expert, ex-chief referee of India's National Memory Championship, Mr. Pawan Bhattad. I invite Pawanji to share about his thoughts about the book. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Ramji. Thank you for your
Pawan sir,
kind-
actually a bit about you. 10 seconds.
Sure.
Sir, actually, Pawan sir is a great influencer in my life. I think since last 1 year, probably 10 months or 1 year, I know him during the pandemic time. And he's a great teacher, first of all. And a lot of contribution is there in scripting this book. And he has taught mind map and all. And with that mind map, with that creative thinking process, whatever he has taught, and with that, all this thought came. So he is the best mind map expert in the country. And he is the best speed reading coach in the country. And he is a serial entrepreneur, and he has achieved a lot in life. And he is making the entire world tour, completing with his kids. And he has a great agenda behind that. Within 2-3 years, he wants to travel entire world. So over to you, sir. I want to, everybody is interested to hear from you. Thanks a lot. Carry on.
Thank you so much for your kind words, KP. Your book is a wonderful book. I've had the fortune to read it before this launch. And when I saw that copy, the title itself was very interesting. The title was like 15 scientific secrets. When I saw the title for the first time, I was like, okay, yeah, there are thousands of scientific secrets out there, which everybody keeps posting here and there. When I actually opened the book, when I read the first chapter itself, I kind of got a feel that here there is something different. This is something different. This is going to be something amazing. And then as I went through it, I realized the way he has taken very simple scientific concepts, which we learn, early days of science in physics, chemistry, etc. And then he has related it with life, with our situations, with our goals, with our dreams, with our aspirations, with our challenges, with our problems. The way he has related every scientific secrets with life is really amazing. To take those simple secrets and use those scientific principles, I won't say secrets, scientific principles, and then relate it with life to make sure that we understand that, okay, there are patterns, there are methods to everything. The way you have related these things, KP, is really amazing. And that's what really attracted me to complete reading the book. A few chapters that really kind of engaged me, that really gave me a little bit of relativity to what I am doing or to many other examples around me. The first chapter itself, like I said, when I read the first chapter, I was itself very much inclined to the book. The specific heat chapter. Specific heat is the amount of heat required to convert one mass from one temperature to the next degree of temperature. Now, the way you have explained it is very simple. The way you have related it with life is even easier, even nicer. Like the example that you gave, that if you put water in a steel vessel and if you heat it, within 2 minutes, you feel like the water is hot. When you touch the vessel, you think, okay, heating is done. But when you put your finger in the water, then there is no temperature in the water at all. It's still warm. It's still probably cold. The steel gets hotter very fast. And if you do the same thing with a mud vessel, if you put water in a mud vessel and you heat it, you touch it from outside, the mud is still cold, but the water inside is getting hot. The beauty, how every different element in nature changes its energy levels differently. And the way you have explained this is really amazing. Now, this specific heat is nothing but what you think you are, right? And how quickly can you transform? How much do you allow yourself to transform? So that specific heat chapter, it kind of was explained very well. And then the happiness index part inside it. Keep doing what makes you happy, and greater things are bound to happen. It was very nicely done. And now the structure, that the way you have put this book, it's not only giving fundas. It's not only telling you, okay, this is how it is, that is how it is. It's about, okay, this is the scientific principle. This is how we relate it with life. Then there is a part of some methods of how you can do it. Then there is a summary, and then there are some activities. So it's not just a book to be read and kept aside. It's a book that you can actually follow. It's a very nicely written book. The end part of your first chapter, do not die before your death. I mean, that was kind of mind-blowing part of the book. Then you went into the second chapter, the latent heat, the hidden potential, the amount of energy it takes to change from one state to the other. And this is something that I have experienced multiple times in my life. This is something that I have seen many people experience. We keep doing a lot of things and we see nothing is happening. There's no result. We keep doing things. अरे मैं कर तो रहा हूँ, सब तो कर रहा हूँ, लेकिन कुछ दिख नहीं रहा है. Something is building up inside. Before you go from one state to the other state, there are a lot of internal unseen changes that need to happen. When you are boiling water, a lot of time is taken only to loosen all those bonds. This is how Kedarji has explained it in the book, and that's wonderful. A lot of heat is consumed only to release the bonds between the molecules. For a long time, only that happens, and then comes a point when very fast, the entire steam starts coming out, the bubbles start coming out, and then you see water has changed from water to steam and ready to shoot higher. Now, this latent heat concept, this hidden potential that is required, that keeps happening inside you while you are doing things, is the heat you are providing to yourself or to things so that you can move from one place to the other. And then through the book, somewhere in the middle of the book, I loved this chapter, Escape Velocity. Something that amazingly relates with a lot of stuff in this chapter is about that your internal chemistry has to be greater than your external physics. Have you aligned your body, heart, and mind to that one goal that you want to achieve? When you have done that, then extraordinary things can happen. If you allow yourself to succumb to the external physics, oh, this is the environment. Right now, there is a pandemic. What can I do? Right now, it is this. What can I do? Right now, the situation is different. What can I do? My family is not supporting. What can I do? My friends are not there. What can I do? Etc. etc. Then you are allowing yourself to succumb. You are allowing the external physics to be larger than your internal chemistry. And then we have infinite examples around us whose internal chemistry was so strong that they could defy the external physics. They could defy the external environment, the external situation, and still grow through it. I mean, we have seen seeds sprouting out of tiles also, right? We have seen some seeds. If you observe some old buildings, you will see some trees coming out of cement walls. So those are the seeds who had the internal chemistry strong enough to defy the external physics. And this one thing, and then he has given a good 7-step process of how to go about this as well. Very nicely done. Okay. Now, if I relate these 3 chapters, and if I want to help you relate with this, what examples can I think of? One of the examples was the person with whom we opened this, Prashant Nandaji. He is a Rajya Sabha MP. Do you think he ever thought when he started to become an actor that he would someday be a Rajya Sabha MP? Probably not. What did he do? He had a specific hit defined. I love acting, I love film, and I will keep doing this. He kept doing it. That led to make him a director. That led to make him a producer. That led to give him the right popularity required. That led to make him a Rajya Sabha MP. Everything else was automatic, right? He kept focusing on the specific heat. He kept supplying the latent heat. And eventually, the escape velocity was achieved. What is this escape velocity? Escape velocity is the velocity you need to go through something. The velocity that you need to throw an object out of Earth so that it can break the gravitational pull of Earth and become a satellite or go endlessly into the universe. He kept supplying that latent heat to achieve that escape velocity, and he's a Rajya Sabha MP. Another wonderful example, which even Dr. Hari Krishna Maranji had mentioned, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. He wanted to become a scientist. Actually, not even a scientist. He wanted to study science. He wanted to study the nuclear, right? Now he kept doing it, eventually got into some wonderful industries, eventually became a wonderful scientist. And to the extent you keep doing what you're very good at, he only worked on his specific heat and kept supplying the latent heat to keep changing states. Scientist, chief advisor to the government, so on. Eventually to become a president. I am damn sure not even in his dream he might have thought that he will become a president one day. But by supplying that latent heat, he achieved that escape velocity to go out of the orbit, to break all the physics around it and achieve that president's post. And then the last example that comes to my mind is Sachin Tendulkar. Just another child, like there are probably a billion children out there, not a billion, but a few million children out there in India who don't want to study but want to go and play cricket. He was just one of them, one like them. If he told somebody at the age of 10, I will become a cricketer. Okay, everybody wants to become a cricketer. Fine, no problem. Go beta, khelo. Right? But he kept working on his happiness index. His happiness was in playing the ball. He kept working on it. He kept working on his specific heat. Eventually, there were times when nothing was happening in his life. He goes out, he does everything good, but he gets out on a 0 or gets out in single digit runs. And when somebody asked him, is it time to stop? He said, stopping will be automatic. My job is to keep hitting the ball. There was this event of tennis elbow in his life, where everybody thought now it is over, because it's a sportsman and the ailment of the kind of a tennis elbow is probably impossible to come out from for a sportsman. He kept working on his latent energy. वो supply करता रहा, अपना काम करता रहा, and then he achieved the escape velocity. Now look at this example from the external physics thing. The kind of escape velocity he created was such that, first of all, getting a Padma Bhushan also, sometimes you need to obviously be very good at what you do and still have wonderful connections. Now here is a person who is very good at what to do, never bothered too much with connections, bas apna kaam karta raha. Not only got a Padma Bhushan, Padma Vibhushan, every sportsman think, okay, I want an Arjuna award in my life. Here is a guy who went beyond that, because Arjuna award was the top award for sportsmen, right, in India. And getting a Bharat Ratna means you have to go through a lot of inter-party politics also. Here is a guy who keeps doing his job. The party politics changes, the constitution changes to allow a sports person to be given a Bharat Ratna. Everything is taken care of automatically, and here he gets a Bharat Ratna award. Keep working on your specific heat, keep applying the latent energy. The escape velocity will be achieved, and then you never know where you are going to be positioned in the universe. And wonderfully explained concepts, Kedarji, in your book. I would love to talk about all the chapters, but I respect the time of the audience here. So thank you so much for writing a wonderful book. You have really written it very well. And my best wishes are with you, with your book. And I believe you will also have your escape velocity someday.
Thanks a lot, sir. Actually, I think you're the best ambassador for this book. I was thinking that the entire book you will complete with this. And you're such a critical thinker. And sir is amazing in his thinking process. The way he thinks, I'm a fan of him. It's fantastic. Sometimes, you attend a lot of programs of his going on. And what he is contributing to the society, you cannot even imagine. Just get into his programs. You'll be surprised what he's giving to the world. And thanks a lot, sir. You keep doing the great work, and God bless you. And thanks for giving this opportunity and being a part of becoming a part of this event.
Thank you, Pawanji,
Kedar.
for amazing connectivity from Rameshwaram to Rashtrapati and Bharat Ratna to the cricket legend, and connecting all the things that are happening and energizing all of us with your amazing sharing. Thank you so much.
Mr. Ram,
Yes.
this is Lahiri.
Lahiri.
I'll just interrupt a bit. Something came to my mind. I think I should clarify over here.
Yeah.
Actually, when we were composing the cover, KP, remember, when we were composing the cover and the epilogue and the prologue, etc., there were a lot of questions. Why Einstein? Why have you put the picture of Einstein? And before going about that, I'd like to thank Pawan Bhattad. What a wonderful explanation you've given, sir. What a wonderful explanation. And now, why you have Einstein over here? Why not somebody else? because it's not because Einstein is a great scientist or the greatest scientist. You know, you cannot compete. You cannot compete a singer with other. You cannot compete a kalakar with somebody else. You cannot compete a scientist with some other scientist. So probably Einstein is the most popular, but not the best scientist. We cannot compare. But we have put the face of Einstein because, you know, all the stories or all the concepts that we have picked up is from a phase when the world was going through rough times. Even now, the world is going through rough times. That was a phase when the World War was happening. There was a lot of political agendas going mismatch. There was this Cold War, the people were falling sick, people were having discrimination, apartheid, and all sorts of things were happening. At that point of time, there was a representation of science through this gentleman called Albert Einstein. So we are connecting Einstein not for E is equal to mc square, for his face value, for his representation of science amongst all the things that is happening in life. Right, KP? This was the concept that we brought about, and this is what Einstein represents here. Sorry for the interruption.
Thanks for this insight, sir.
Thanks for the
Over to you,
insight and
Ram.
thanks for the connect. So we have another special guest with us, is the author and World HRD Congress Award winner, the founder and CEO at Wng.Cdr.K.Basavraj, Mr. Vivek Trivedi. Over to you, sir.
Good evening, and thank you, KP, for such a wonderful, epic which you have written. Because I myself is a very fond reader, and I went through the book, and the way, the thing has been completely constructed from so small examples to such a big, frequency which you have matched with the physics, chemistry, and even up to the few formulas and all that. I think that's really, really so wonderful.